say thank you.
We're dying, we're dying, we're dying, we're dying. We're dying, we're dying, Can't even get their employees some parking. Well, hey, we are back. We are back with another episode of Good Morning. We're dying. As always, I am Alex, and that is Sam. So what's going on, Sam? How are you feeling 1 week away from the big day?
Terrified. I have only a third of an idea of what I'm going to say. A week out.
You have material. You know what you're gonna say.
I know things I could say. But
You just abandon your material and just go on like a rant. Like what was that movie? The one like from the 70s. I'm my brain sucks. I'm gonna have dementia. Like I am going to have dementia. What is it? Newsroom. The really famous movie from like the 70s where like they're talking. You have no idea what I'm talking about. All right, whatever. No. Off to a great start.
I am terrible with like pop culture outside.
This is not pop culture. This is like, I mean, it kind of is, but it's like it's not a very big. I mean, at the time it was, but it's like one of those movies. It's like it's like a banned books kind of thing, but for movies. Like it's not banned, but like the people right now in government really would rather you not watch that movie.
What's it about?
It's just about like the main like media just being bought out and turned into like a mouthpiece for the wealthy rather than like something reporting news for people that is going to be useful, and there's like a big iconic famous like kind of rant at the end of the movie where like the main character, who I can't remember who that was because I never actually watched the movie. I just saw the clip of that scene. It's like kind of like an iconic scene where they kind of like go on a rant and just kind of it's like it's a similar thing to the Eisenhower like military industrial complex kind of situation, but for like the media, like warning us.
They were ahead of their time.
Yeah, they actually were. I mean, they were. That movie was. But yeah, I think it was called Newsroom. I can't remember. I'm like so bad. I'm worn out this week. Like I had a rough couple days.
What's been going on?
2 days ago, I had the worst migraine I have ever had in my life. I don't know how I got through the day. It was probably about, it was there all day. It started to hit as soon as I got to work, and it was still pretty mild though in the morning. And then somewhere around 2:00, it just went full blast, and I stumbled through the rest of the day. And then we recorded an episode of Parking Lot Salad that night, and I just sat there in the chair. I said like 3 things maybe in the whole episode. I just couldn't. My head was just in so much pain. I was trying to get it posted that night. I was sitting at my computer here, and I literally I just got done kind of cleaning up the audio, and I was like exporting it and getting ready to start doing like the episode description. And I just was like, I'm gonna puke. I gotta go lay down. And I went and laid down. That was probably about 9:30, and then I woke up at 2:00.
Were you able to go back to bed?
I scrolled through TikTok for a little bit, and then I signed up for Redbook. And I was probably awake for about like 2 hours. I think I went back to sleep maybe a little bit more. I think I went back to sleep around 5, so I was maybe up for like 3 hours or something like that. And then I went back to sleep, and then I woke up at 7. Head was still kind of hurting. That was the day we were supposed to go to Sheboygan, and I'm like, am I gonna have to fucking cancel this? And then somewhere around 10:00, it kind of went away. I mean, I took like some Motrin and stuff like that, and around 10:00, it kind of went away, but I was still feeling like really groggy. But the fact that it went away, I was like, all right, I'm gonna we're gonna do the show. I'm gonna go. And then one thing I didn't mention, Thursday I did not drink coffee or eat any sugar because my doctor said I need to like not do that for a couple weeks. And so I don't think that was the cause of the migraine, but I think that definitely like contributed to the migraine. But then on the way to Sheboygan, I was feeling fine, but I was still feeling the effects of it, you know, like I could feel in my body that like my body had gone through a trauma. So like on the way to Sheboygan, I got a coffee. I was like, I got to get through this night. So I had a coffee and I felt great after that. So we did the show. Shout out to the Hive North. That was where the show was. It was a great show. It was a lot of fun. It was packed. I mean, the room was packed. Like there were for a Thursday night in Sheboygan. Like it was like there were a lot of people there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
And with it being cold out and people wanting stuff to do.
Yeah.
I'm sure that that was a welcome reprieve.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. And so yesterday and today I went back to no caffeine. I've felt fine. I mean, I've been like achy, and I think that has to do with like not having caffeine. So I took another Motrin today and I finally feel fine, but my back has been like all morning. My back was just like,
what does your doctor want you to?
Well, it's, like, you know how like women have like feminine issues? Like, well, you know, I'm going to say masculine issues.
Whenever I go cold turkey without caffeine, I get like really bad migraines.
Yeah.
But it could also be a tumor.
It's not a tumor. I had to do it. Sorry.
I worry about my friends though. I'm like, can you get scheduled for an MRI to double check?
I think I'll be fine.
If you like start randomly losing weight, like dropping weight real fast.
Well, it'll be hard to tell right now because I'm like literally not eating anything because of my doctor at the moment.
That's wild.
I'm like eating yogurt and lettuce. That's like basically what I'm eating right now.
That's such a huge life change all at once.
Well, it's just going to be for a couple weeks. It's not.
And then are you running tests after that to see? Or is it just to see the effects in general?
It's not really a test issue.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm going to respect my HIPAA rights. I'm not going to go into it, but it's not as big as it maybe sounds like it is, but like I do have to like kind of eat well for the next couple, like 2-3 weeks. As well as I can. I mean, I'm going to slip up and I'm going to have some pizza. That's inevitable. And I will probably have a cup of coffee somewhere between now and the next time I see my doctor. So
I switched to mushroom coffee and I hate the taste of it. The people who say, oh, it tastes earthy. It tastes like dirt is what you mean to say. It does not, earthy is not a pleasant.
Wait, is the mushroom stuff?
Yeah. And it has half the caffeine as coffee. Yeah. And all the good ones have a bunch of different kinds of mushrooms in it. And I like Rise the best because it has the best effect on my anxiety. Mm-hmm. Whereas the other mushroom coffees do taste better than it. But my anxiety is still just as bad as it is with coffee. So I stick with Rise and muscle through, but whenever I taste coffee after that, I'm like, what I'm missing.
I'll bleep Rise out since they don't pay us to do this. You gotta come up with the dough if you want your name mentioned on the Good Morning We're Dying podcast. I gotta fix my chair here. All right, there we go.
Yeah, and then I have been whitening my teeth, and I didn't realize this in the past because I just thought other whitening programs didn't work with the white strips, but I didn't realize that you're not supposed to be drinking coffee.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's like the biggest tooth stainer.
On the package, it's like, don't drink or eat while you're using the strip. So I was like, okay, sweet. Later in the day, I'm just going to drink my coffee.
I had kind of like a similar thing, you know, like the nose strip, the pores strips. But like, I didn't know I was supposed to not be dipping my nose in coffee. You know. So that kind of ruined that for me.
So I've partaken in coffee twice, but I put so much milk in it that it's such a beigey
coffee with your milk.
Yeah, and so the night of the day of the recording is the first day that I can have coffee again.
Because that'll be the end of the treatment. It's funny how we like take care of ourselves right before like a big show. Like that's the only time. And then after that we're just like, yeah, cigarettes, coffee, candy. Back to my midnight Taco Bell.
Right? I'm going to start working out this week because I have more confidence when I work out. I need that for the stage.
So yeah, I don't know what has been going on. We're at 13 minutes. We're at 14 minutes, I think. I don't know if that's like we might have to cut off a little bit at the beginning, but I think we're in the safe zone for YouTube not demonetizing us for you to talk about what you were talking about before we hit record.
So I sprung this on Santiago last night right before we went to bed. As I was rubbing his back. But I was at work and I was in a stall. I didn't like at the bottom of the, when you go into a stall and see a toilet and there's some stuff at the bottom, it usually looks like somebody just didn't flush hard enough or long enough. I assumed that was the case. I went to the restroom and I flushed and the water is rising and I'm like, oh no, what do I do? Because it was brown, very brown water. And we have this vase with fake flowers in it in the main area, and I stole one of those flowers and I'm trying to poke it down. And it lowers a bit, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try it again. And it is rising again, like scary high. And enough of my coworkers have come in at this point to see it's my pants and my shoes in this stall. I can't back away, and I don't know who did that. So I did what I had to do to make it go down. I washed my hands 8 times after with the hottest scalding water. I get back to my desk and I used so much hand sanitizer. I found the Clorox wipes and I am wiping myself down.
You could just like call maintenance, right? Like
I felt guilty. I don't want to be like, have fun with my brown slop I left you. No, I basically had to play patty cake with my own feces.
Just making mud pies. Yeah, like that's sort of like not with like poop, but like just the toilet not working right. That's happened to me at work where like I flush and it starts to rise. I'm like, oh shit. But it usually like stops. And then at that point, I just don't flush it again.
As I was telling this to Santiago, he was like, no, you didn't. You even before I got to that part. And I remember to take my Fitbit off, but not my wedding ring.
Oh, no.
But that's how comfortable these are. You just forget about them when you are cradling feces.
When you are in the shit.
But I also watched this several times too, and
oh my god. Yeah. So I had some pretty normal bathroom experiences at work myself this week. Nothing crazy.
You didn't have to go elbow deep.
No, I did not have to go elbow deep.
Restroom.
Although one time I did go in with my headphones on and they're noise canceling, and that kind of just makes you forget where you're at, and I just blew one out really loud, and I have no idea if anybody else was in there or not. Like as soon as it came out, I was like, oh, I don't care.
I love that sense of comfort. Yeah, I wish I had that. I wish.
Yeah, I think once you hit 40, you'll have it. I think that's the point, because you hit like that age and you're just like, these children don't mean anything to me. I don't care. You can think what you want to think.
Should I buy a plunger and just leave it in there?
I think you should just not flush it when you dodge a bullet. Like when you dodge a bullet, just leave it be. And then call a professional.
I feel like I should bring some more fake flowers back, and I hope that they didn't have any sentimental value to whoever left them there. The first time I ever had to cradle my own, I was in the hospital. I was like 8 or 9, and I was on the children's floor. They have the little play school houses, and I had to go. And I went in there, but I didn't want to leave it there. So then I'm in my little gown carrying it back to my hospital room. And that's how much I enjoy healthcare. I don't want the staff to have to deal with that. That is supporting our heroes.
Yeah, I think the only time I ever shit my pants was like first grade.
Way to brag, Alex.
I've come close plenty of times, but the only time that just full blown load in my pants was probably first grade. Like we were on a field trip to the park like 3 blocks away. And the park had bathrooms, but none of the stalls had doors on them. So I just didn't poop all day. Like we were there all day. So I just didn't poop once. And then we got back to school with like an hour left. So we were like still in the classroom or whatever. And I'm just like sitting there just like I just got to get through one more hour. Actually it wasn't in the classroom. It was like to the point where I was like, okay, I'm not going to make it. And then I just urgently went to my teacher. I was like, I got to go to the bathroom. She gave me the pass. I went to the bathroom, and then like before I could get my pants down, just bah. And I took my lunchbox with me because the bell was gonna ring before, like while I was in there, so I had my lunchbox with me. So like I took my underwear off and like wiped myself down the best I could, and then just put the underwear in the lunchbox.
Did you use the lunchbox and did your mom have to clean it out?
Yeah. Well, I got home and I was like, hey, there's like a problem in here. And my mom was very angry. But we got through it. We got through it as a family.
Did you tell her what the problem was, or did you let her open it?
Oh yeah, I told her. I was like, yeah, the park didn't have any bathrooms, so.
So you've never sharded?
I'm sharded, but I'm talking about full out, just load in your pants, steaming hot, Like that's what I'm talking about. I've definitely sharded. Everybody's sharded, whether they want to admit it or not. Like that's everybody's done that. But I'm just talking full just log in your pants, you know, like
Did you touch it at all? Did you
I had to. That was the only way I could get it off. Cuz it was everywhere. It just like went in and then just like it was like a Rorschach thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like it just and I was just wearing tighty whities at the time, so
anyone who says they have not handled their own feces is a liar. At some point,
I can't trust that person. I can't trust someone who says they've never done that.
At some point,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Even if you were a wee child, you had to grip it.
Yeah, at some point. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think that was my only, just like full blown, shit my pants experience. I mean, I've had a few close calls. Like as an adult, I've had close calls for sure. I was going to visit a friend of mine. He lived like way out in like the northern suburbs, and I was living like on the east side, like in East Point. And I was going to his house. We were gonna like hang out, and I got within like maybe 20 minutes of his house, and I just got hit. Like it just came out of nowhere. I was like, "What? Where did that come?" So I'm driving and I'm trying to like hold. I'm literally hovering up above my chair, like in the car driving, like with my like you know like this. And I'm just like I drove like that for maybe about 3 miles, and I was like, this has to come out. And there was a Target, and I was like, oh yes. I just pulled into the Target, and I'm just like I'm like clenching as hard as I can.
Were you sweating?
I was for sure. So this was the summer. I was sweating, so I'm like clenching as hard as I can, just beelining it into Target, right into the bathroom, and I just unloaded.
I love it. I mean, their symbol is the Target. Like...
And I hit a bullseye. I will tell you that. I mean, I maybe hit some other parts of the Target as well, but the bullseye definitely also got hit.
I was hanging out with a mutual friend of ours, and it was at an apple orchard.
Mm-hmm. And that's the worst place.
Yeah.
Because that's another one of my close calls, but go ahead.
And we were supposed to do a hayride, and I had like taken a ton of laxatives to try to get things going. But that was like a couple days before, and it had not been effective until that day. And
you got the delayed effect.
Yeah. And it just right before we got on the hayride, I trusted a fart that I should not have trusted. And then we went on a haunted hayride, and I'm just sitting in it, being like, "There's nothing that's gonna jump out at me that will be." And then,
Frankenstein jumps out of the bushes.
I am moistening this straw. Ready.
One of my other close calls was a friend of mine. His dad was like a maintenance guy for one of the. There were like two public. Well, not two public. There's one public high school and another Catholic high school in Hamtramck when I was growing up. But there was also another kind of private, I think it was also Catholic, but it was more so like Ukrainian school. It was like, but it was also like a Catholic, where it was mostly Ukrainian people that went there, and it was a Catholic school. And it was very small. It was like a very small school. And my friend, his dad was like the maintenance guy there. So my friend would get his key and we would go play basketball there at night, like when everybody was gone. And so we were playing basketball there one night and somebody went on a run to get like Gatorade and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, I don't want Gatorade, but I don't want water. So I'm like, give me some apple juice. So they went and they got me apple juice. They get back. I kill the apple juice. We start playing. Like halfway through the next game, I'm just like, oh no. And I just call somebody from the side. I'm like, you got to get in for me right now. And I just run. I just beelined into the locker room and just unloaded.
Oh, you just made more work for his dad?
Yeah. He made it all nice before he left, and then I ruined it.
What high school did you go to in Hamtramck?
I went to Hamtramck High.
How big was your class?
My class was not that big. My class, I think, was like 200 or 250, somewhere between that. The class after us was huge. The class after us, I mean, it wasn't huge, but it was huge for that school. The class after us, I think, was like 400 or 500.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so like they got kind of big, like just numbers wise after I left. Like my class, I think, was the last like kind of smaller class like that.
Did you like it?
At the time, I didn't love it. But I think it was just more so like high school angst kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But like I look back at it now and I'm like I'm really happy that is where I went to high school, because it was just a very diverse school. Like almost every nationality was represented in that school. And so it just like gave me exposure to a lot of different cultures. And so it's the reason why like I like just feel comfortable in any situation. You know, like there's not like a normal situation that I don't feel uncomfortable in. Obviously, like if things are like physically hostile, then I'm going to be uncomfortable in that. But like just from being around different cultures, like you can put me in anything and I'll be like fine, you know? Mm-hmm. And I'm like very grateful for having that experience from like my high school.
Did you go to Hamtramck for K-12?
Yeah, the whole thing. I mean, obviously different schools in the system, but like, yeah, I kindergarten, I started in that school system, elementary, middle, high school, like all the way through was Hamtramck High School. Well, Hamtramck Public Schools.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
And did you have pretty much the same class the entire way?
Well, I mean, yeah, until middle school. Middle school is where they start doing like different periods, but like all through that, K through 5, you were just in one class, and you were just like in that class the whole day. And they would like switch it up. Like you didn't have the same people in your class every year, you know, like you would end up with different people in your class different years. But for the most part, I had like my friends, you know, almost all the way through. I think 3rd grade was the only time I really got split up from like some of my friends. But other than that, I was like in the same class as like all of my friends pretty much every year.
Do you keep in contact with any of your teachers there?
No, I haven't seen any of my teachers in like a really long, other than, I mean, like in high school, a couple of my teachers were like actually like my uncle's friends. Like they grew up together and they also all went to Hamtramck Public Schools and then they came back and taught there. Other than those teachers, I really have not seen or spoken to. Well, there's one, but I'm not going to talk about it on the podcast. I might talk about it at some comedy shows. If you want to see the story, come to the comedy show. I'm not going to put it out there on the podcast because I think they're probably still alive.
I feel bad. Sometimes I wonder if I'm too open on our podcast.
I mean, I don't know. I guess I shouldn't really care because I did tell the story at Flyover Comedy Festival. Like I did it on a show and they recorded it and it is on the internet. I recorded it too, so I don't know. Should I tell the story? All right, I'll tell the story. There was one teacher that I stayed in contact with. I didn't stay in contact with. I had contact with. Well after high school. I want to be clear about that. It was way after high school. I was a legal adult. I was a very legal adult when this story happened. So I just want to make that clear. But yeah, so at my first job out of college, it was a very easy job. Like there wasn't really like a lot to it. I would just kind of finish everything by 10 o'clock and then I'm just there, you know? And so, a habit that I got into was like around lunchtime, I would start going through Craigslist, casual encounters. And I would try to find some casual encounters. And there was one that I saw one day. It was advertising a lunchtime hotel orgy that was very close to where I was working. So like I sent the message, and then I waited, and then they sent the message back with like the info of where to go. And so I went to the orgy and it was in a Motel 6, like one of the California style Motel 6s, you know, where it's like the like when you leave the room you're outside. It's not like hallways and stuff. So like, and it was a bright, like no clouds in the sky. It was like bright day. And so I knock on the door and the guy opens it. And because it's so bright behind the room, completely blacked out, like no lights, curtain just completely blocking the window, just like pitch black in the room basically. And also because of how bright it was behind me, I just could not see anything in the room. So like the guy like answers the door, he asks me some questions to make sure that I'm at the right place, and then he like lets me in. And then when I finally get in, there is a little bit of light coming through like the cracks of the curtains, and I can kind of make out like what's happening in front of me. So I join. I'm in it. I'm in the shit, so to say. And then there's like another knock on the door, and so the guy gets up again. He goes, answers the door, and the guy's at the door. The guy that was knocking, he's at the door, and he starts asking him questions, and he mentions to him that he's like the last one, so like, you know, whatever. So that he comes in. He asks him what his name is. Like, this is one of the things that like really kind of stood out for in retrospect. It stood out. At the time, I didn't really think anything of it. It just kind of like, I just heard it and it just kind of stood out. But he asked him his name. He was like, so wait, are you Jack? Because he was the last one to get there. And he was like, yeah, but like, that's just the name I use online. My real name is, I'm not going to say his real name. My real name is, you know, whatever. And so I'm just like, oh, you know, okay, whatever, you know. And I continue with the orgy. And, you know, the new guy comes in, he jumps in, and he's part of it now. And, you know, we're doing our thing. And everybody starts leaving. It's the end of the orgy. Orgy's over. Everybody's got to go back to work. So like everybody's kind of leaving. I'm like leaning against a like one of the dressers in the room, like getting dressed and whatever. And every time the door would open, like you would get like a shot of light, so you could kind of see the room clearly for a second, and then the door would close and it would be like pitch black again. And the guy that came in last was like sitting on the bed in front of me, kind of like looking away. I was like looking at the side of his head, basically. He was sitting on the edge of the bed getting dressed as well. And the door would open and there would be light, and I would see his face for a second, like the profile. And I'm just like, that guy looks familiar. But I couldn't place it. I'm just like, he looks so familiar. Who is that? And so like I get dressed and I leave, and I'm in my car and I'm going back to work. And I'm just like, you know, driving, and in my mind, I just keep playing over and over the door opening and seeing his face for a second and then the door closing. And I'm just like, and then it finally hit me who it was. It was my high school basketball coach. So like, so yeah. And then I got back to work and I emailed the guy that organized it. And I'm like, hey, did that guy say his name was like blah, blah, blah? And he's like, well, he just gave me his first name. He didn't give me his last name. I'm like, okay, because I think that might be my high school basketball coach.
Did the organizer write you back?
No, this is our email back and forth. This is like our email back and forth. So like I emailed him back. I'm like, I think that was my high school basketball coach. So then he emails back and he's like, well, where did you go? So I like tell him where I went. And then like 45 minutes go by. I don't hear anything. And then I get an email from him again. And he's like, yeah, that was your high school basketball coach. and then like literally like a minute after that, I got an email from my high school basketball coach. And like we just had like a quick exchange and that was it.
Was it like catching up or was it like please don't tell anybody?
It was like
or both.
It wasn't so much please don't tell anybody. It was more so it was that. It was like for sure that, but it was also justifying like what he was doing at like a gay orgy at lunchtime.
I feel like nobody has to justify that. I feel like if that's how you want to spend your lunchtime, it's your hour or half hour.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that's the only contact I've had with any high school teachers.
Did you have a good rapport with him in high school?
Oh well, I mean, he was my coach, so like I was on the basketball team.
But I've had a couple coaches I hated.
No, I had a good rapport with him. It wasn't until like my senior year. It's not that we had a bad rapport. It's just that like, I didn't like I wasn't on varsity right away. Like I played freshman basketball, then junior varsity, and then I got to varsity. So it wasn't until I got like onto varsity that like we kind of built a rapport because I just wasn't really like in contact with him during practice really, you know. But like yeah, I mean we had a decent rapport. Like he asked me if he wanted to, when I graduated, he asked me if I wanted him to write a letter of recommendation to the college that I went to U of M my first 2 years. So he asked me if I wanted him to write a letter of recommendation to, at the time, head coach Brian Ellerby at the University of Michigan, for if I wanted to walk on. And I was like, I think I'm good. I think I got my fill of organized basketball.
That's so cool though.
Yeah.
That he was like game to do that, and that you were so talented that he felt.
I think it was, well, I mean, like I was good. I was a good basketball player. I'm very short, so that I wouldn't have ever like actually played. I would have just been on the roster if I made the team. I would have just been on the roster. But I'm very short. There's no way. I mean, I'm very short for a basketball player. There's no way I would have been like a major key piece of the team, you know? So I was just like, I'm gonna just not deal with that.
I think you are selling yourself short.
No, I'm this is one where I am not Sam. I am 5 feet 9 inches. There's no way I'm gonna be a major player on a Division 1A basketball team that is like, I mean, at the time they were very bad, but like they're often in the conversation for national championships. Like, you're not...
But let's just say you like intentionally crouch down and you have the ball in your hand and you have your elbows out like this. Can you, if you crouch down, would you be at like a good height to accidentally elbow somebody's groin?
I wouldn't need to crouch down because I am short. I could stand fully erect and probably elbow someone's groin. If I crouched down, I would be elbowing their ankle, probably. We're talking about basketball. These men are giants.
How hard would it be for that to be a foul? Like if it looked like you were like...
Oh, I mean, it would be a foul. Oh. Like even if it was on accident, it would be a foul. But like, I had to do that a couple times in high school.
Elbow?
Yeah, because like, big guys would always think I was just like some like little shrimp, and so they would try to like hit me with like a hard screen, and like they would like go out of their way like purposely to like really kind of like give me a good shot, you know. And so like if they did that the next time they tried to do that, I would go into the screen with my elbow and I would just put it right into their thigh. Yeah. And like the screen would be effective. I wouldn't get through it because like I'm more focused on like taking out their thigh. But then every screen after that, they're like very careful on how they screen me.
You got your message across.
Yeah.
I had a lot of girls get free throws because I yelled too much during basketball games. I would get very I didn't understand the rules or the plays at all. But I would yell a lot to throw them off, and apparently that's against the rules. They would get a lot of free throws, and I didn't understand until years later because my coach would come over to me and be like, "You do understand why they got those free throws, right?" And I'd be like, "Yeah."
I mean, you would think after like 2 or 3 times the coach would be like, "You don't understand," and would like explain it to you.
So really, it's on him. Yeah, he was a bad coach. I didn't like him.
Yeah, I feel like most basketball coaches are bad. Like I do. Like obviously there are good ones, and I think those typically like rise up and end up like in the NBA and stuff like that. And then there's like a spattering of good coaches in the low like college and high school. But like there's wide gaps between the good coaches in those spaces that are just like awful coaches. Mm-hmm. Like it just like my coach when I was on junior varsity was like maybe one of the worst coaches I've ever had. Like he was terrible. He was so bad. Like I think if I wasn't such a like timid kid, I'd probably be one of the people in this category that I'm about to mention. But I think almost every single player on our team gave him a bloody nose at least once. Like purposely.
How bad do you have to be to get that many bloody noses?
He was terrible. He was awful. Like his approach to coaching was like he was basically, he thought he could bully you into being a good player. You know what I mean? And like nobody liked that. And if I wasn't such a timid kid, like I would have probably given him several bloody noses. Like I am so out of shape right now. Both of my knees are awful. If I saw him on a court, I would play just so I could hurt him. And he's got to be in his 50s by now. I'm 43. He has to be in his 50s. I would 1000% play just so I could hurt him.
Have you looked him up recently?
No, I haven't looked him up. I've seen him like maybe once. I mean, outside of going back to like basketball or football games, I have not had contact with anybody. But when you go back to like a basketball or football game, obviously you see teachers and stuff. And I think I saw him at a basketball game. I went back one year because they were like really good one year, and I went back to go watch a game.
I love that. I haven't. Well, never mind. I did go back to one football game after I graduated high school. But I haven't really heard much about the teachers that I disagreed with. Well, one I did find out was like messaging former classmates, trying to get down with them.
Yeah.
But the teachers I do like 2 or 3 of them have died already.
Oh, wow.
It is short lifespans.
Yeah, my 8th grade social studies teacher, I liked him because he would always dress up for Halloween, and he would dress up as a surgeon, and his Dr. Smock left nothing to the imagination.
Do you think he knew?
He had to. There's no way. I mean, like, it was just out there. Like, it was just out there. Like, he was the football coach before I got to high school. Like, I mean, obviously, he was a middle school, 8th grade social studies teacher. So he wasn't coaching football anymore at that point. But, like, he was at one time the varsity football coach. And so, like, he still had, like, he was like a big guy. Like, not fat. Like, I mean, you know, he was an older guy, so he had a little bit of a belly. But, like, he was like a big guy. And he would just be in his Dr. Smock trying to teach us social studies, and I'm just like not listening to a word that he's saying.
That is amazing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. That treat was only on Halloween though. Every other day of the year he was wearing khakis, which also were not great, but it wasn't as pronounced as when he was wearing his Dr. Smock. They weren't great at hiding it.
Did he dress in his smock every
Yeah, that was like his Halloween costume every year. So 6th, 7th, and 8th grade I got that. It was only 8th grade that I was in his class, but like 6th and 7th grade, I would see him walking around the hallways, you know.
Even in 6th and 7th grade, were you like,
Well, yeah. I mean, subconsciously, I wasn't like out to myself yet at the time, but like definitely it caught my eye. Like in hindsight, like it definitely caught my eye, and I definitely looked a little longer than I probably should have.
Were your middle school and high school in the same building?
No, they were different buildings.
Mm-hmm.
Middle school. The middle school is like 2 or 3 blocks away from the Indy.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's so close.
yeah.
Did he continue to coach football at the high school then?
No, he wasn't a coach anymore. Like when I got to middle school, he wasn't coaching anything anymore. He was just a teacher, but he was at one time the high school's varsity football coach.
Yeah, all of the teachers who coached the football at my high school were still actively coaching. One supposedly had a DUI and had to ride his bike to school, which in a rural community is I kind of feel bad for him in a way that it's like fodder for high school kids are mean.
Yeah.
And there was so many affairs happening amongst the teachers too that it was it was intriguing. A lot of the football coaches cheated on their wives with other teachers.
Yeah. My senior year playing baseball, one of the coaches on the coaching staff was our offensive coordinator on the football team. And this was in a game, not practice. We were like in a game, and these kids hopped the fence and just started like hanging out in the outfield. So we had to like stop the game, and he went to confront them, and they were like kids. So they were being kids, you know? And so he starts yelling at them to get off the field. And then they said something back to him, and he was like, he screams back at them, "I'll have you arrested." And we just said that for the rest of the season, all through practice. And I don't think he really liked it. Like, he never really said anything, but I'm sure he didn't like it. And then he didn't come back to coach football the next season.
Teenagers aren't mean. They will break you. Especially
my one friend Stan. Like, he was the main one. He would every 2 seconds, anytime anyone pushed back on him for anything, he would just be like, I'll have you arrested. It was just nonstop for the rest of the baseball season. Just, I'll have you arrested. It was just like, I'm sure he was embarrassed about it because he like told like a 10-year-old he'd have him arrested. but also just like, we were relentless. We would not stop with that.
I had an 8th grade teacher quit mid-semester because she couldn't take it anymore. My class was being super obnoxious to her and would relentlessly ask for bathroom passes, and she started refusing to get them out. And so my classmates would just be like, okay, we're going out the window. If you don't give us these, we're going to go out the window. And follow through. They
went out the window. Oh man, we had my English teacher, I think in like 10th grade or maybe it was 11th grade. I can't remember now. He brought on a student teacher, and this woman was not prepared for what was about to happen to her. She was very much so she would be like a character on Friends, and they sent her to this like inner city school to teach English, and we could not have cared less about anything that she had to say, and we did not pay attention to anything that she said. And she finally had a breakdown on her last day with us because she tried to get us to watch the movie of what's in the book, Fahrenheit 451. Yeah, she tried to get us to watch the movie, and we just talked through the whole thing, and she kept trying to get us to stop, and we just would not listen to her, and she finally just sat down at her desk and she was just crying.
Was that her last day?
That was her last day. Like, that was literally not her last day as far as like she quit, but that was like just her last day. Like, she was just done. Like, that was her she was only supposed to be there for like 2 months, and that was literally like her last day.
Oh, I bet she was so relieved.
Oh my God, I guarantee you she was. I'm sure she probably bitched about us to her friends relentlessly. She may have lost friendships because of us, because she just talked about us constantly.
Oh, do you think you caused her to drink?
I would not be surprised if we did. I'm fairly certain she probably started drinking.
I know so many teachers that started drinking a lot more when they after we all graduated college and they went into teaching. When I substitute taught for a little bit, oh, that was the worst. High school was terrible.
Yeah.
They have no respect for you.
Yeah, no. We had one substitute teacher who like knew that we were not going to give a fuck about the lesson plan, so he would just go up and do like stand-up bits.
For real?
Yeah, he would just do stand-up basically the whole hour. I mean, he was doing like comedians' jokes. Like, we didn't know that at the time because we, we're like kids. We're not watching stand-up. We don't, So we're just like, oh my God, he's so funny. And then like I grew up and I'm like, oh, he did it. He stole all those jokes. He stole all those jokes. But like, yeah, I mean, he literally just did stand-up bits for like the whole hour. Like, we didn't learn anything when he substitute taught. And everybody loved him. He was everybody's favorite substitute teacher.
Diego told me, he's like, you care too much, Sam. He's like, I just sit on my phone and I just scroll. And I was like, but the handbook says not to do that.
I can just. Diego's the worst person to be a substitute teacher. Because like those kids would be like, "Hey, Mr. Atanasio, can we make fireballs and throw them across the room?" You're like, "I don't care."
He was so chill with it. Like, and when I taught, I didn't even think we were being that loud, but other teachers would feel the need to come in and be like, "Hey, just wanted to check everything is cool in here." And it's like, yes. I don't know how he worked wonders with them, just sitting and them not being loud.
I think it's just that kids can sense like fear. and he probably, I know for sure he was not afraid, because Diego doesn't have a soul, so that means he's never afraid. So like the kids, I think, caught that aura coming off of him, and were just like, knew that like we need to chill out. But I think they could probably sense the fear on you, Sam.
Probably the high school. Oh, I didn't realize that there's all these like new technologies. Do you remember how we had what's the projector screen that they would write on?
Yeah, that you would write on. Yeah.
They now have the electronic projector screen, but the special projector board.
Okay.
That I didn't realize was not a whiteboard. I wrote all over it. And the honors kids are the meanest. The honors kids are the biggest bullies. And not only were they being mean to me, but at the end of the class, I am glad that they did this. They're like, "Why did you even write on that?" And I'm like, "It's not a whiteboard." And they're like, "No, you move it, and the whiteboard's behind it." It slides over, which I had not been in high school in 15 years.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good thing that you've not been in high school for 15 years. That's a good thing.
I spent all my lunch break trying to scrub it off. And it's a very porous surface. I'll say that.
I don't know. I remember after like the classes in front of me that would graduate, like a week or two later, you would see a bunch of them come back just to like hang out. They would just like come back for some reason and just like walk the halls and like they like just hang out, you know? And so like I remember as an underclassman, I always thought that was like so cool.
Yeah, same.
So then like I did it. And I was like, this is weird. I'm like, I shouldn't be here.
Yeah, I thought it was like the coolest thing too when I would see them. But yeah, I never did that myself.
Yeah, no, it felt so weird. Like as soon as I left, I was like, I am never doing that again. That was so awkward.
Yeah, I think the people who I saw do it multiple times, I think now as an adult, that was a red flag that they just weren't happy with.
Yeah,
where they.
Well, I don't know. I feel like there's like a lot of people that leave high school that never actually leave high school, you know, and I think a good number of those people are the people who just never leave their town, or people who become Disney teachers. Like they come back to teach at their high school, but they also like work part-time at like a Disney store or something like that. Like I've run into several people like this that went to a high school, graduated, taught at that high school now, and work at a Disney store, like flat out like that. I've met at least 3 people that I know that did that. Which it's like once you meet 3 people that do that, that's a thing. That's like a thing. Like maybe it's just a Michigan thing. I don't know, but it's a thing.
I love that it's the rule of 3s too.
Back Nikola Tesla, you know.
Are there still Disney stores?
I don't know. I don't think so. And that's probably the only reason it doesn't exist anymore is because there are no Disney stores anymore. But if there were Disney stores, there would be like 7th grade English teachers working there.
Oh, I feel bad because they have to. That's like so much interaction with children.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. I don't want to interact with children at all. like I want 0 interaction with children.
I am like cool with like hanging with children in a way. I just get so worried because every parent has a different way of parenting. That when I hang out with kids, I know that I'm so stiff because I'm like, I don't know if your parent is cool.
Same thing. For me, it's mostly just like little kids. Like once they start getting into like high school, I'm like, okay with that. But like when they're like really, really little, I'm like, I need an adult present. Like I can't.
Yeah. Like, do you need your grapes chopped up?
Yeah.
Are you allowed to eat them whole?
Yeah. I'm like, I need another adult here. I can't be the only adult with this thing.
So many ways to go wrong with it.
Yeah.
Do you have any dates coming up?
I have to pull my phone, which is right here. I think I got some stuff coming up. Let's pull my calendar up. This is very bad because we're not talking about anything.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, it's not on you. It's on me not being ready for this. All right. What's today? The 18th? 23rd, which is what? Like next Thursday, right? Or this coming Thursday? The day after this comes out, I'll be in Toledo at Jake's Saloon. And then Friday, I'll be at the Independent Comedy Club on the Dirty Show. And then Saturday, I will be at the Independent Comedy Club opening for yours truly, Sam Rager.
Hey. Yay. So, yeah, the 25th, I am doing the recording of the special. Don't know. I know what I'm going to open with. And after that, it's a surprise for all of us. Hopefully it comes out okay. 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. show at the Independent. And then on the Monday after, I will be hosting Blind Pig. And that's it for January. I think my February just have one date, and then my March I have 2 or 3 dates, but looking pretty sparse. So.
Yep, I gotta start filling my February March dates myself. But yeah, Sam will probably not be on next week's episode because she's going to be preparing for her recording. So I will have another guest host for next week. But yeah, good luck on the recording. I'm going to see you there again, but you know, I want to throw it out into the universe that I want you to have good luck. So
thank you. Hopefully people show.
I think they will. Your album recording all those years ago now was great, and now your special recording will be the same.
From your lips, Alex.
My lips might not be the best ones to be talking to God. So. But yeah, that's the show. Thank you for watching, and we will see you guys next time.
The man tells you to smile. You need to say thank you.